Hey guys, this is Chodaros, and today's bracelet is by the wonderful MsLoom, and it is called the Artifacio bracelet. It takes about 11 beads, and it can handle nice big beads, preferably round, oval, but really doesn't matter. You have a nice space in here in between. MsLoom suggests she used, I believe, a 9mm. So check out her account with the link below and see the different renditions that were made. Or you could go a tad bigger. So this bracelet requires a middle section to be done first, which I'll do with you. And then we're going to go back and do the outer stitch and then grab this last layer and stitch that one up. So it won't take too long. It doesn't take too many beads, but you're going to need quite a few bands. We've done this with 2 colors. So obviously you can pick whichever colors that you want. They're, if not the same, very similar from the front to the back. She does prefer it done in LE bands. It does look a lot better in LE because they are a tad twisted. This one, I had these big beads. I was trying to see if I could possibly use them, and it didn't come out the way I wanted because it's a 2-hole bead for one. Maybe if I would stitch it differently it might, but if you can see with the difference, it's the black LE bands in the center. It gives it a neater look, neater appearance. Okay, so I have already done my center, and I did use 11 beads. Mine are about, I think, 8mm. I had these for a while, so it's pretty cool I get to use them. So it's going to be long if you use 11 beads, because whenever we do the second step, it's going to shrink up. So after we finish this part, and you notice that it is a tad large, don't be afraid. It's going to shrink. Okay, so you'll need about 11 beads, and I'm going to use the same color, but I'm just going to do about 4. I think you guys would be good if I just show you 4. It's a rather simple stitch. Alright, so we're going to start out, maybe zoom it in a tad. We're going to start out as normal with a cap band and then a plain band through. Take out a minute. There we go. And then we grab our first bead. So if you are using a larger bead, there's 2 ways you can do it because it's a little bit difficult with larger beads. This is how we always thread them. But we always have to take the right part of the band over to the right side of the bead. So you just kind of hold on to that left side and just kind of twist the band, pull it up until it's on the other side like that. And then just kind of make sure that bead's in the middle of the band. And then we're going to take, and we're going to put a band on this left loop and then this right loop. So you can take off like this because, well, you have to watch that one band doesn't fall off, but we can add it like this. And put that side back on, and then grab your next band, do the same to the right loop, like that. And then we grab our next band. We'll pull everything on top. And then we're going to go back and grab these center 2 loops. And then close it up. And then our last band for the pattern, we'll grab everything on our hook and close it up. Okay. So your cap band, then that's the entire pattern. So then we'll just repeat. So this is the band we want to start out with, just 2 loops on our hook. So the way that I sometimes do this is I just take this right side off, stick the left side of the bead on my hook, then pull it under the left loop on the hook like that. And then you can put your hook back in to that right side, right band. And then you put your bead band on, and then you can pull that one over. Excuse me. But that's just an option. Excuse me. And then instead of taking this right band off, I just kind of slide it through both. And Suzanne HB, she's the one that kind of taught me this one. Bring it back through, holding on to the right side, and then just sticking that back on the hook like that. To me, it's easier than turning it or transferring. And then you stick your next band on like that. And then we pull our next band through everything, and then going back, picking up the center 2 bands, and then close it up. And then our last band for the pattern, we pull everything on our hook on top. Okay? Not too hard. So then we start again with our bead and pull that right loop over the bead. Close it up. Make sure that your bead's in the center of your band. So then we want to put 1 band just on this left loop. So I'm just gonna, oops, pull it through and then pull it so I can grab it with my hook and then reattach that right side. And then put the loop on another band like that. And pull it all through a new band. Recapture the center 2 and close it up. And then lastly, we put everything on a new band. Okay? All right, I'll do 1 more. And then if you need help, you can always rewind. And there we have it. That is how we're going to make the center part of our bracelet. So I'll let you guys go ahead and finish, and we'll meet back for the second step. Okay, so we're going to go back down to where our cap band is, and we're going to loom it from the bottom going up, and it will be, we're going to loom under your bead and on top of your bead, and then we skip this part and then we loom under the bead on top of the bead. And before we begin, I just want to show you, there will be 4 bands. Let me pull this out. There'll be 4 bands that we're going to put on in one step. But these 4 bands, which I can't even show you because I have it already done, these 4 bands, they do a different job, I guess we could say. And if you wanted to use multiple colors, I just want to show you which ones do what. Maybe take that work out of it for you. So the first band that we put on is typically going to be, as far as the original design, would be the color of your border or your main color that you used in the bracelet, the center color. So I'll just use one of those and put that through. So we want to go, I'm going to restart this because I'm going to use two different colors, but I just wanted to show you this part first. Alright, so we pull a band through there, and then we have to do chain 3 more. Okay, after we chain 4, we always come back, and in between the first loop, first chain and second, in my case the red and the orange, we always want to grab in between the orange. You see how the red comes out there? We always want to take our hook and grab those 2 bands. So I don't want to express color maybe as much as wear in case you're using different colors, but it's always after the first loop. Hence this is the first chain we did. So once you have those 2 bands on there, and you take the 2 existing on the left side, pull them up and over those 2 bands, push it back. That's the step. Okay, so let me start this next one because I want to show you why I wanted to show you why. So then we go in here and we pull in a band. Okay. So with this, it is a tad tight. It's a tight stitch, but I wanted to show you what each color does. Okay. You're going to have a loop that comes out like this on the back. And then the last step of the bracelet is that we take all of those loops and we do like a, what do you call it? It's the stitch to put them all together. So if you wanted to use multiple colors, that red band that I used, that's always going to be hidden. So I'm going to use gray in this case, but just so you know, that band's kind of hidden, so you could make it a color that you can contrast or whatnot. Then the next band is that orange one, which is like you can see on this gray. But the third band you place will be that one that will stick out in the back that we're going to do the edge with. So if you wanted to add a different color, that might be a good one there. And then the fourth band we placed acts the same as the orange. So you can kind of see on this all the lines in the gray. That's what color you'll see on the first two bands that we place on that chain. So I just wanted to show you, just in case you wanted to change up your colors. I know I'm not very good with color, and if I can help take the guessing out of it for you guys, I sure will. All right, so to start, I take my thumb and my third finger and hold down the cap band, open up that hole right there where the bead is, and then I take my hook and I go behind it up through those 2 bands, so it's through the link. You can see the chain there. And I'm going to be using metallic silver and glitter white, and then alternate. So the original design calls for alternating colors. So the first one will be the same color as the center part of the bracelet. And then my second color of choice. And then back to the main color. And then I finish with my second color. Okay, so you chain 4, and then this is the time when we go back and we're going to pull those 2 bands out, and it's always the second chain right there. I'm going to go in, you can kind of separate it a little bit, stick your hook underneath them, and you can pull the other bands to the side. Make sure the bands aren't crooked, and then we're going to take these existing 2 loops on the left, and we just want to take them and pull them over the top like that. Okay, and then we want to come back, hold on to the bracelet, And now we're going to stick our hook into the top of where our bead is placed. So we just stitched below the bead, now we want to stitch above the bead. So, and you always want to go in the same way every time. So every time I'm going to be entering from the back to the front. And then again, I'm going to start with my main color. And so we just pull a band through the bracelet, and then we pull the other 2 loops on our hook under. So we're capturing all of that, and then we close it up. And then we go with our second color, and then we chain the 3rd one back to our main color, and then the 4th. Okay? So after we chain, if you hold your bracelet in the position where this is the front, and then you're kind of on the sides of your chain there, you want to go in right there, and we want to grab in between those 2 bands and place them on our hook, and take that white, which, you know, this is the one right here, I believe is the one that kind of sticks out on the back. No, it's not. Well, it might be. Okay, push that down. Then we take these left 2, pull them up and over, like that. So that's kind of the end of one pattern. And then you can see, as I was mentioning, you'll have these 2 little loops that come out in the back. One thing is you want to make sure it's the same. They can become crooked where loops on the side. So I just kind of give it a little pull so I see which ones. So it might look like you didn't, like mine, I'm still looking like I need to do that one. But if you give it a little stretch them out, you'll see that you did your first bead. And then we're going to come up here to the bottom of our second bead. Put your hook through from the back to the front. So essentially we have 4 loops on our hook, and we're going to pull a band through everything on our hook. And then close it up. Okay, take our next color, and we want to chain 4. So that's 3. That's 3 and 4. So essentially you're always going to end up with the second color, the opposite of your main bracelet, with a different color. So we go, you know what, I'm sorry, I'm like, why are my colors wrong? And I just did 5, I just chained 5. That's because I put the wrong color in. I'm sorry, so I just want to take this out. Alright, I come up here and put my hook in and pull those 2 bands over and the remainder 2 on my hook. Now I use my second color and chain 3 more. So if you're using 2 colors, then you would always end up with the second color last. Okay, and then we go down in between and pull those 2 bands on, and then the left 2 come up and over like that. And you want to just keep an eye, make sure that your bands aren't twisted, or I noticed on my one that I did, the bands were always twisted because I wasn't paying attention. So I think it's easier to do it while it's on the hook like that second band on that one there is twisted. There you go. And you see what it looks like? It looks kind of cucky if it's twisted, so just make sure yours are straight. And then we go into the top part of where your bead is and repeat. Don't believe it's too hard. And then we come down. And grab those two bands inside there. Like that. And then pull those two left over. This time I'm going to make sure they don't cross. There. Okay, I'll do it 2 more times. So this time we're going up to the 3rd bead into the bottom part. And chain 4, 2, 3, 4, and then we reach down into here, the 2nd link, grab those 2 bands, pull the left over, up and over. Make sure the bands aren't twisted, so that first one likes to come down over the 2nd. There we go. And then I'll do one more with you. All right, so that's 1, that's the 2, that's the 1st bead. 1, 1, 2, that's the 2nd bead. Now I just did the bottom of the 3rd bead, so then we go into the top. I'm going to cheat. Alright, so we take our first band, goes through everything on our hook, and now we chain 3 more. And grab those 2 bands, see how they're crooked? If yours come out like that, make sure they're straight. We'll pull the left 2 up and over. Like that. And the reason I'm emphasizing to make sure that your bands do not crisscross is because if you're using a silicone band that's kind of sticky, and this is such a, like, you know, it's kind of a tight stitch, you want to fix it at the earliest, as soon as you catch it sticking, and if it's twisting. So I want to make sure that all of those are straight, unless you're using LE bands. If you're using LE bands, then I can guarantee you none of this will matter. But because MsLoom had emphasized using just LE, I thought I'd do the tutorial on with regular bands. That way, if somebody doesn't have the LE bands, they didn't feel that they couldn't make the bracelet. Okay, so let's go ahead and we'll finish that up all the way to the end of the left side, and then we'll come back and do the other side. Okay, once we are finished with the one side, it should look like this. And I have the end still on my hook, so you have your band up here I'm going to stick my hook through that left loop and then take it off and then slide these two bands on top like that, and then put it back on and close it up. And then if you need to, you can just kind of take each one of those bunches and loosen them up if you're using certain kinds of bands, or fix anything you want. But we should have these little loops sticking up, 2 on each section. So what we want to do is, I'm going to do mine going in from this front. So I'm going to go in the first section and put those 2 loops on my hook, and then I want to put this left one over the top and slide the right one under. Slip knot. That's the word I was looking for earlier. So each time I go in, I'm going in from the front. So I go into the next 2, and we have 3 loops. So then we want to take the second and third over the top, like that, and like that. And then we move on to the next 2 and put the second loop over the hook, and then the third one. That's it. We're just going to do this all the way up till we get to the end. But like this one here, it's kind of hard to see where those 2 loops are, so you want to make sure that you're grabbing the right band and always going in from the same direction. And that one's kind of small. And if you have to take it over with your finger, it's not an issue, because you don't want your bands to get twisted. Ooh, it is raining out there. Alrighty, so we finished this, and then we can start on the other side. So I'm not really quite sure if it has 2 sides, and it's going to be just a little bit bent. You could stop there and make it a choker. Look at that. That would be very pretty. Okay. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to open this up, take this band, and slide this one under, and then just stick it back on the hook. Okay. So that's what you should have. Nicely stitched border. So we're going to go ahead and do the same thing on the other side. So we come back down But anyway, as I was saying earlier, I'm not sure if it's the exact same on both sides. I think it is, but I'm still gonna I want to loom this from the top down this time, just to make sure. Okay. Sorry, that makes more sense, huh? So, hello. You can kind of see your beads, how that pattern has moved. All right. So, remember we're looming both sides of that before we were stitching from the bottom. So I'm going to pull up that cap band so I can get into this space. Get some bands. So we pull 4, chain 4. And then remember, we come back down. Grab those 2 bands in between that second link, and then pull the left 2 bands over the top. And now we are ready to go in to the other side of the bead. And then we pull a band through. Forgot I found my hook. Secret design, don't look. That's decent. There, that's easier. So then we chain 3. And then grab our 2 bands. So exactly the same as the other side. Except I choose to stitch from the top down to make sure that my pattern stays correct, just in case. Okay, so that was the first bead. Now we go to the second. And then chain 3 more. And then go into that second link and grab the end of the first link. And pull the other 2 bands over. And go to the bottom of the bead. And start all over again. So I think you guys are good to go. It's the same as the other side. So we can go ahead and stitch the rest of this down to the end. That's what it should look like. I'm pretty happy. I like the colors. I think it's pretty cool. So the only thing that I see different, like this side in the middle of the design, those pieces come out. I don't see it on this side. I could be wrong. Okay, so let's finish this all the way down, and then we'll meet back up for closure. Alrighty, down to the end. I'm just gonna turn it this way, and then do the same thing we did before, except now I'm going to put all of those loops on my hook, like that, and then stick a band through. And capture all of them. And then close it up. And then we'll have the other band from when we're done looping this that'll go on there. So we have to finish our last step. Okay, so we come back down to the cap band end and finish this up, which is grabbing all of those loops like we did on the other side. So again, I'm going to go in from the front and then go through that way and do a slip stitch. And now we do a slip stitch with 2. Excuse me. I'll go a little bit quicker since you guys already know how to do this. Ooh, is it thundering out? All right, 2 more. And the last one. And we are done. So I put my hook on the left loop, take it out, and then slide this loop on top. And there is the end, which I don't have a C-clip on me. You can put your clip. Yay, we are done. So I'm just going to give mine a little stretch. And while I was looming it, I did notice that I have 2 different beads, which I knew I had because I try to do every other one, but I think this bead is larger than this bead, so those are falling back. Otherwise, I think it came out great. I wanted something that looked a little bit dressy. And see, if you notice, like when I just turned it around, this side looks more finished to me, like I don't have to touch it. All of the sides seem to be nice and straight, but on this side, it is a little bit different, maybe more bands kind of hanging out in between the patterns. So there we have it. Another great design, MsLoom Artifacio bracelet. So make sure that you go on her account and Okay, are you guys looking at do you guys see what I'm seeing? See, we've got these two little loops coming out right there. And then we turn it and it would go this way, right? There we go. There we go. Perfect. All right, so make sure you click on the link below and check out the originals that MsLoom has created. And make sure you give her a follow if you're not on Instagram. And make sure that you also stay tuned because I have a lot more tutorials coming your way. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.